Welcome to another episode of Firm Foundations Podcast with your hosts CJ and Tony. Last week we went through chapter 23 of Genesis, and it's in the English translations it's titled Sarah's Death and Burial. In Hebrew translations it's simply called The Life of Sarah. We saw a grieving man going through traditional Middle Eastern haggling.
That's the word I was
ceremony.
thinking. Haggling, yes.
And negotiating power politics in the city as a foreigner, just so he could lay his bride to rest. And today, we're picking up a bride for his son. Isaac was never married during his mother's life. She never got to meet her bride-to-be. But we're going to see that she will be a new Sarah. She would be the right stuff for occupying the position of matriarch for Israel. And we're going to learn more about a couple of the characters that we don't really think about too much. And I find it beautiful how the Lord, even when we overlook them, He does not overlook the side characters. He does not overlook and heed no attention to the support cast. He truly is the God of all, and He truly does care about everybody, no matter how little or big, socially, chronologically. And we're gonna. This is one of the first really sweet passages, I think, in the Bible so far. So let's dig into Genesis chapter 24.
All right. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. So Abraham said to the oldest servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had, "Please put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. But you shall go to my country and to my family and take a wife for my son Isaac." So I'm going to stop there for a minute because there's a few things going on here.
Okay.
Number one is the tradition of putting one's hand under another person's thigh. That's really odd nowadays, especially. I don't even know if they do that still.
No. There's some rumors that some people might still do it in India, but I've never heard of anybody doing it. Furthermore, let me blow people's heads a little bit with this. It's not the thigh.
Okay.
I mean, the word translated as thigh can be thigh, but when you look at how it's used in other passages, let's see. Actually, let me look here. It doesn't give us. Okay. I can't remember exactly where. I want to say Genesis 46, 26, and in Numbers somewhere, where it uses the similar phrase when it's talking about the people that came from Exodus, not Numbers.
Okay.
the second place. When it's talking about the people that came from Jacob's body, it's translated as body. But again, the word is the same word translated as thigh, but it actually means the male organ.
Okay.
Because that's where kids come from.
That's even worse, but okay.
Yes. And I'm glad that you brought this up because why does Abraham make him hold his genitals or put his hand under his genitals? It's interesting, right? And
You want to call it that?
I mean, you could call it a lot of things. I'm trying to be polite.
Yes.
But so today when we take an oath with regards to civil governmental procedures, we put a hand on the Bible and raise our other hand and we take an oath.
Right.
And why do we do that? Where does that come from? Both the Midrash and the Talmud state that when someone takes an oath, they need to hold on a sacred relic, a sacred object. Like and the two examples that are given is a Torah scroll or the tefillin, like the phylacteries that they tie around their
Right, with the
head,
box.
or or those are sacred because they have the word of God in them.
Right.
Right. Abraham didn't have a Torah scroll. He didn't have tefillin. He didn't have any sacred object other than the sign of the covenant.
Okay. The circumcision.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he made Eliezer put his hand on and swear by something holy, the only thing that he had that was holy, that was God's covenant, or the sign of it. And so that's why
Okay.
he did that.
How do you like how this is starting out so far?
Yeah, I mean,
We didn't talk about that, and it's probably a good thing because I might have skipped over it.
but going back to let's frame this, right, the whole conversation with discussion of a father's obligations to his son. In the Talmud, in Kiddushin 29a, it talks about six obligations that a father has to his son. One is Brit Milah, circumcision, to add him to the covenant with God. The second one is Pidyon Haban, which is in English the redemption of the firstborn. So the Bible tells us in Numbers that if the first child that opens the womb is a male, he needs to be redeemed from the Lord, because we see that God had always planned that Israel as a nation would be a priestly nation unto the Lord, and that this function would be carried out by the firstborn of each family. But then when things went sideways and he had to choose specifically the Levites to be the priestly tribe, he commanded that the rest of Israel should pay a certain amount to the tabernacle to redeem their firstborn son and the firstborn of their animals too. like everything. Well, certain animals. Let's put it like that. And so there's that. The third thing is to teach him Torah, to teach him the Word of God, to walk in the ways of the Lord. Another thing that he was obligated to do for his child, for his son, was to teach him a trade. And we see Abraham do all of these for Isaac, right? He circumcises him. Technically, God redeemed him back. If you think about the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, as Abraham offering Isaac to God, and then God redeems him with the ram. So that was taken care of by God Himself. Then, obviously, as we're going to see, He had taught Isaac to walk in the ways of the Lord. Then, obviously, He was teaching him how to do the family business. Yeah. Another thing, which is random, which we don't see attested in Isaac's life, at least, in any of the in any life in the Bible, actually, is that he should teach him how to swim, both figuratively and literally. So teach him to swim in the water, but teach him to swim in life, how to survive.
Keep
life.
his head above the water.
Yeah. But the next thing, which is where we're gonna be dwelling today, is to arrange for a suitable marriage, arrange for a suitable wife. And this is, as you read, the topic of the, we didn't get there yet, but we're going to get there. Spoiler alert, today is about finding a wife for Isaac. And we kind of gave that away in the introduction, but here we go. So this is an old man coming to the end of his life, wanting to do the last thing he needs to do for his son, fulfill his fatherly obligations to his son, leave nothing undone, leave nothing incomplete. So I love that. As a father, I love that's where his heart is, and it encourages us to think about that, and instead of living in the moment and living for our personal pleasure and living in the moment, it encourages us to live for the future, live for the next generation, and think about a legacy, what we're going to do for our child, for the next generation. So yeah, and then we're confronted by the hand under the genitals, which kind of ruins the sweetness of it a little bit. But when you understand where it's coming from, that's. And I'm trying real hard not to make an inappropriate joke here, but that's one holy member, if you understand what I'm saying. And that's the only thing that he has that he can swear by. He doesn't have a Bible to lay his hand on and swear. That's.
Okay, so moving along.
Yeah. Thank you.
The next thing that I wanted to bring out is apparently this servant, and we're going to find out it's Eliezer, but apparently he is brought up in the household knowing who Abraham's God is.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt about it. Especially as we get further in, we see how he's going to ask God to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
So there's no mistake that not only does he have a great respect and dedication to Abraham, but he also has the same for Almighty God.
Yeah.
It's and you don't see that a whole lot in servants.
Yeah.
to this extent, because it's funny. If he knows everything, he knows that if Isaac was to die, that he would get it all, But his dedication to his master is so great that he doesn't he disregards that, and he's continuing, and I think that just shows another thing, that God puts people in certain places at certain times for His plan to be carried out.
Yeah. Really, I mean, Eliezer he is an outstanding man, and we don't see that until now. We only ever, most of the time, he's not even named by name. He's just called the servant of Abraham. But every time it says the servant of Abraham, we know it's his most loyal servant, his major domo, the guy that runs his house, runs his business. But the sages of Israel look at him and say, well, not only was he a great servant, but he was a great disciple, that he had learned so much from Abraham, that he loved God so much that he was actually the head of, for lack of a better term, the head of Abraham's religious school, his religious academy. When Abraham was out taking care of his financial business, he was there continuing to teach the converts and the other servants how to serve God. And this is the caliber, and we're going to see why, and what kind of a caliber man he is. It's if only I could be a tenth of what he was.
Then we see that Abraham is bound and determined for his son not to marry a Canaanite, because they are polluted with what's it? Satan has already polluted that society with his Nephilim happenings, giants, and so on and so forth. So they're not a pure stock.
Yeah.
And that's what, and Abraham realized that, and that's why he's wanting to send him back to the family that he knows, that's still not been engaged with other peoples.
Yeah. And we haven't read that part yet, but might as well go ahead and
Do another spoiler alert.
yeah. Let's go ahead and read it, and then I'll make a comment on that, maybe.
Okay. We're verse 5. And the servant said...
Oh, one second. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did we already get down to 5?
The last thing I said was verse 4.
Okay, so my bad. So, yeah. I don't know where my head is. I think I'm still swimming from yesterday. But I apologize, y'all. It's a struggle bus today a little bit for me, but not as bad as it was yesterday. Yeah, he definitely doesn't want his son to marry a Canaanite, like you said, because not only are they contaminated genetically by the fallen angels and their offspring, the Nephilim, the giants, but their culture is fully corrupted. Their sins have not reached their fullness. They haven't peaked in wickedness yet, but still, I mean, this is the culture that, if they haven't done it yet, they are going to soon enough participate in ritual prostitution, child sacrifice. I mean, they already had slaves, and slavery was their slavery was equal, if not worse, to what we experienced here in the transatlantic slave trade, with the slaves not having any rights, and the slaves not really having a. It was worse than the New World slave trade, in the sense that the slaves didn't even have a way of buying their way out. And we're going to see as the story moves along, maybe not in this chapter, but in the coming chapters, that they were capitalist when it suited them and communist when it didn't. They hated the rich and the poor equally. When they had wealth, they hated the poor, and when they were poor, they were envious and jealous of the rich and tried to redistribute their wealth. Mm-hmm. Not even redistribute their wealth, but just destroy it. Not even make use of it themselves. And yeah, they're just a messed up nation and a messed up culture, and Abraham doesn't want anything to do with it other than, God put me in this place. He gave me this promise about this land, and we're obviously going to have to stick around to make use of it. I tried to escape to Egypt a time or two, but that didn't work. God doesn't want us down there, so I guess we're going to have to stick it through with these people until God gives us the land, but I don't want none of it. Yeah.
Verse 5, and the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I take your son back to the land from which you came? But Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. The Lord God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my family, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your descendants I give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. Mm. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of, we're going to stick with thigh, of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. So he didn't want to be responsible, if there wasn't somebody that was willing to come back, which I could understand, because it's like we leave here and go to Idaho to find a wife for a son, and these people from Idaho don't know you from Adam. Yeah. They haven't been in contact with them for probably, he left at 75, Abraham did, and now he's approximately 140, 150.
Probably around, because, okay, so this is estimated to be about 3 years after Sarah died. Sarah died when she was 127, so roughly around when she would have been 130. He's 10 years older than her, so about 140.
Okay. Somehow they lost contact. They didn't text each other. They didn't make any phone calls. And it's just complete different people.
Yeah.
Because for one thing, Abraham's father was an idol maker. He made idols, correct?
Yeah.
So we don't know what this family is doing now, if they're following God or not. And you're sending this guy, who knows who God is, to a completely unknown family.
Yeah.
The only thing that they know is that Abraham left.
Yeah.
To follow a God. They didn't know who he was still.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is like it's just whacked.
Yeah, I mean, this is how much he disliked the Canaanite culture, that he would send his man. Like, he didn't even his gripe wasn't necessarily the idolatry. Like, yeah, that's bad, but like, I'll get.
Not like the Canaanites.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot of choice. Everybody's an idolater. But the thing is, he won't even consider the daughter of somebody that lives in his household, one of his servants, or somebody that converted that he was, friends with. He's not considering any of those because of the culture around him, the culture that they grew up in. And he was like, no, I'm going to send you over there. You can get another idolater, and maybe we can work with that. At least somebody that's closer to my culturally. Somebody that doesn't kill their own child to sacrifice to whatever demonic god they worship. Somebody that doesn't hate the poor. Somebody that's...
Oh, this is speculation, though.
But,
I mean...
in his mind.
Yes, because he doesn't really know if they've been... tangled up with Canaanites down there or wherever, in Ur.
Well, I mean, they're...
The assumption is that they haven't.
Well, they're roughly 550 miles away, the way that you would have gone, because you wouldn't have gone straight because of the vast desert. You would have gone in kind of a semicircular way, so it adds to the distance. It's 550 something miles away. There's some interaction because of trade and stuff, but it's not an ongoing daily interaction with them learning the ways of this people. And so one can see how he's hopeful, because where else is he supposed to go? Egypt?
Right.
He already tasted the fruit of
Yeah.
that. He's not doing that again. Canaanite? No. Philistines? No.
No.
Like, at least the Philistines were better. And look, the Philistines were better. They were welcoming. They took whatever woman they wanted, without respect to the family. But at least, when they were confronted by God, they were like, oh, okay, our bad. So they had some respect for God. They weren't that evil. But he still doesn't want that.
Right.
He's thinking that, oh, I know my dad. Like, he was an idolater, but at least he was a decent man. So, and I know my brother, and he was an idolater, but at least he was a decent man. So I'm assuming that his son and his son after him, because let's admit it, Abraham should have had great-grandchildren by now. So he's thinking about the next generations of his cousins. Like, at least they're, or nephews, I should say. That, like, at least they're probably decent people. Like, so...
I just wanted to throw a wrench in there.
I mean, you're right. He's speculating in his own mind, and he's
hopeful.
We're speculating about his speculations,
right,
but we can understand as fathers ourselves where he's coming from, and hope springs eternally. So.
Verse 10, then the servant took 10 of his master's camels, and you need to remember this number, the 10 camels, and departed, for all his master's goods were in his hands. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at the evening time, and time when women go out to draw water. Then he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, please give me success this day and show kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, here I stand by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the young woman to whom I say, please let down your pitcher that I may drink, and she says, drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. Let her be the one you have appointed to your servant Isaac. And by this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. Mm-hmm. And this is showing the amount of faith that Eliezer has in God.
Yeah.
That he's asking him to make this way possible for him to know exactly who it is that he wants for Isaac.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have himself picked anybody coming to the well on his own, but that could have been a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because he may have just looked for the prettiest woman, or he may have looked for maybe the strongest woman, or the oldest or the youngest. There could have been so many variables of how in society today that how we pick a wife or a girlfriend, whatever. We look for certain attributes in a person.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to trust his own choice in the matter because, like I said, we'll pick somebody that has the prettiest eyes or the prettiest voice or the longest hair or whatever it may be. And he's leaving this, asking God to take care of this situation because he knows God knows exactly who it should be. And the faith that he has, that obviously he learned from Abraham, how to trust God, because I wonder if he was one of the servants that went with him when Isaac was being sacrificed.
Good question. I don't think so because he calls those guys young men.
Mm-hmm.
Like, granted, it was 37, 40 years ago, so Eliezer would have been a lot younger himself, but maybe. Could have been. But what's also interesting is that, the Torah tells us don't demand signs from God, right? But the idea is like, if so-and-so happens, then I'll go over there, Lord. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. But what he's doing is asking for a sign that is relevant to the task at hand. He's saying, Lord, show me, and this is how I'll know that this woman, what kind of a woman is she? Mm-hmm. She's a helpful woman. She's a welcoming woman. She's a hospitable woman. She has a servant's heart. Because if I ask her for water and she offers, oh yeah, I'll give you water and let me get water for your camels. Mm-hmm. 10 of them. Like you said, remember that number. That's a whole lot. I mean, estimations go from 140 gallons to 200 gallons of water is what she drew. Now, if a bucket holds a gallon of water, if a bucket holds 5 gallons of water, that's a lot of water.
That's a lot of weight to carry. I mean, 8 gallons. A gallon of water is 8 pounds, basically.
Yeah, it's close to half a ton of water. Close.
This is relevant because of what's coming up.
Yeah, that's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of weight. I mean, it's not as much weight as a gym bro moves a little bit, just as a warming exercise, but it's still a lot of water for a regular human being. And
and no disrespect to women, but that's a whole lot of weight for a woman to carry.
Yeah.
Especially for a young woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that the despite God not wanting us to ask for frivolous signs, the fact that He endorses and co-signs a sign that is relevant to the task at hand was kind of the point where I was aiming at, basically, because every day we're focused with choices in life, and sometimes we don't know what to do, and we ask God for signs, and this is the kind of sign that God answers. You know.
And, talk about asking. He wasn't really asking for himself. That's another thing to look at. It wasn't a selfish thing, really. This is something that's pertaining to his master's son.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a personal request that was going to necessarily affect him straight on, because he had already been told by Abraham that, hey, if you can't find the person, then you're free from this oath that you have taken. So there was no fear in that aspect.
Yeah, how beautiful is it? He goes, please show kindness to my master.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Verse 15, and it happened before he finished speaking that, behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Now the young woman was very beautiful to behold, a virgin, no man had known her. And she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, please let me drink a little water from your pitcher. So she said, drink, my lord. Then she quickly let her pitcher down into her hand and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking. Okay, it wasn't a sip. Then she quickly emptied her pitcher into the trough, ran back to the well to draw water, and drew for all of his camels, all 10 of them. And the man, wondering at her, remained silent so as to know whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. So this woman, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is going back and forth from the well to where he's at, because he had the camels outside an area from where the well was at. 10 camels getting all the water that they needed to drink. So you have some scholars saying that from 3 years old to 14 years old.
Yeah.
It's physically impossible for a 3-year-old to do something like that, for one thing. Because how much did these pitchers weigh? Just empty.
Yeah.
Because they were made of stone, correct? Most likely.
Most likely.
Maybe wood.
Could be wood. Most likely stone. Especially since this is Haran and there's barely any trees at all.
Okay. Then, however much water was held in those pitchers, we'll just say 3 gallons. Okay. 24 pounds of water plus the weight of the pitcher was probably at least 5 pounds, I would think.
So at least 30 pounds we're looking at least, maybe 40, 50 pounds.
How many times would she have to go back and forth to get those camels watered outside the area where they were at, going back and forth? Physically impossible for a 3-year-old, physically impossible for an 8-year-old, physically impossible most likely for a 10-year-old to even do that.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because Islam, we have ridiculed the fact of Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old or whatever. So they want to turn their tables around and say that, well, Isaac married a 3-year-old. The stupidity in that is just overwhelming. And she couldn't have been predetermined for Isaac because they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Or the time period in which he was going to be wanting a wife.
Yeah.
So a lot of that does not add up. In my personal opinion, I think it'd be very hard for a 14-year-old to do this task.
Yeah.
And if you're like any 14-year-old, they would get very tired of doing something that would seem monotonous and worthless.
Yeah. I mean,
Depending on their upbringing, of course, and everything.
Yeah.
And Rebekah is a special type person because, like you said, she's very hospitable, very kind, the type of person who would finish the task.
In my mind, she's a lot like a country girl. A lot like a good old Southern belle that grew up on a farm. Like, not the dress fancy, attend balls kind of, antebellum Southern belles that a lot of people think about, but, the good old country girl that grew up down in the holler and, worked on the farm since she could do anything. So she probably was a lot stronger than
An average.
even boys her age today. But yeah, I would have to agree with you. She was probably around 16, which is the general age for somebody to have gotten a woman to have gotten married then. But still, I mean, the head she has on her shoulders at that age and the physical strength she has it's just outstanding.
The I'm guessing that you may know the answer to this. What is the minimum age in that type culture, even nowadays, considered a young woman?
Oh, are we talking about Israelite culture or Middle Eastern culture?
Yes. Give us both.
I mean, for Israelite culture, like I said, it'd probably be between 14 and 16 is like when somebody would have been a young woman. In the Middle Eastern culture, till this day, for example, in Iran, a man can marry a 9-year-old. Like, in Islamic lands, the majority of the Middle East, 9 to 14 is when, the moment you get your period is, you're old enough to breed now, so you're old enough to get married.
Okay, I just asked that because it said that she was a young woman.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I didn't.
this is before the perversion of Islam. Like,
Oh yeah, several
several
Or
thousand,
several thousand
years,
years.
before Islam. So I wouldn't use Islam to compare because, yeah, I mean,
I'll say it. They're whacked, but
yeah, beyond whack.
and I have my personal opinion of why a 40-year-old would marry a 9-year-old, but I will not go into that.
Yeah.
But I was just curious, because around here we would normally call a girl, like you said, 14 and up, maybe a young woman. Not because of any certain physical thing that happened, but it's the same thing with a boy. You start calling him a young man after the age of 13 or so.
Yeah.
And I guess it's to help build up their esteem, and
Yeah.
it's
And it also comes from the Jewish mindset too. Like, when does a child have a bar mitzvah or a bar mitzvah?
that's 13.
The boy will have it at 13. The girl will have it at 12.
Okay.
And that's when they're considered old enough to start obeying, fulfilling the commandments. So now they have the obligation to fulfill the commandments, even though they're not at the age of reason till they're 20, past 20, they're still, old enough to start following the rules and regulations that God put in place. So, yeah. So, having said that, if you're finding this interesting, I know it's a little different than our normal conversations because of the nature of the topic, right? But if you're finding this interesting, if you're deriving any benefit from it, if it's helping you think through certain things regarding the Word of God, and our walk as believers, then please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. These things help YouTube know that this program is providing value, and it helps them push it out to more people. And our goal is to have the Word of God studied and the gospel going forth among the nations. So if you would please consider partnering with us, not through financial donations or anything. First of all, we don't accept donations. We're not a ministry. We're not a 501c, whatever. But partner with us in the Lord to get His Word and His gospel out to the nations, please. Beyond that, we like to hear from you. We're not too pride to know that we don't know everything, and that we have things that we can learn from you too. So if there's something that the Lord is showing you through the text that we're studying, put it out there. Maybe we'll learn from you too, and that's a beautiful thing. If you have any disagreements, put that in there. Let's have a conversation. We read every comment so far. We are a small channel, so we have the luxury to be able to read the comments, all of the comments, and engage. Other than that, maybe somebody else will benefit from what you type in the comments. In addition, if you have any prayer requests, we would love to pray for you as much as possible. You can put it in the comments, or you can email us at Firm Foundation or support@firmfoundationspodcast.com. Yeah.
All right.
We would love to hear from you.
Sure enough. 45 minutes into this, and we're only on 22. That's okay, though. We may end up splitting this up, I'm sure. Let's keep on going here. Verse 22. So it was, when the camels had finished drinking, that the man took a golden nose ring weighing 1/2 shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrist weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, "Whose daughter are you? Tell me, tell me, please, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge?" So she said to him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor." Moreover, she said to him, "We have both straw and feed enough and room to lodge." When the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord.
So
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. But so this is where the tango starts. In the Middle East, back then and even today, marriages, the proposal phase is a dance. You don't just go and ask a woman, "Will you marry me?" There's this dance. If you like a girl and your parents are okay with it, or if the mother spoke with a matchmaker or a lady around town that knows everybody, and she found somebody suitable. She's nagging at the dad, like, hey, there's this girl, you know, a very reputable family, and she's apparently very sweet and beautiful and hardworking. She can really cook well, you know. It's not even a joke. I mean, it sounds funny to our ears,
She's got great hips, going to give us many children, grandchildren.
load-bearing hips. And yeah, that's the conversation that the mother will have. Then bring the father in, and then they'll like, "What do you think, son?" We don't really care what you think sometimes. But then they'll grab a box of chocolates or some other sweets. They'll grab some bouquets of flowers, and they'll go to they'll first send word to the lady that they're prospecting, to her family, and say, would we be welcome to come? And, you know, after those preliminary talks, then you'd go with the box of chocolates and your flowers, and then you would talk, well, the bride price, the dowry, and this, that, and the other, and, you know, you'll sit down, have tea and coffee and cookies and spanakopita's and whatever. But this is how it starts. This is where it starts for them, is he brings out the gold. And it's a lot of gold. 20.5 shekels of gold. Now, like you were saying earlier offline, the bride price was between 20 and 50 shekels of silver. And this guy comes with 10 camels. And if we didn't notice, like, we should have known already, this is a dangerous time. There's no police force out in the country. There's highwaymen, there's brigands, there's, you know, people that are up to no good on the roads. So you don't travel alone. You travel in a caravan. And, well, Eliezer says, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge? So, you know, even if we didn't know from common sense, he's saying, there's other men with me.
Right.
And he's bringing out this gold, and she's thinking to herself, well, that's definitely worth more than my labor. If he's doing this as a thank you, he's way overpaying. You know, 140, 200 gallons of water for these camels, and probably for the men also, now that I'm thinking about it. It's not worth that much gold. It's probably not worth that much silver. So it's clicking in her head like, oh, there's something going on here. And then he says, you know, and then she does her part by introducing herself. I am the daughter of, and so she's presenting her pedigree. And then later on, we'll see Eliezer actually doing the same thing, but she realizes what needs to happen now. I need to get him home to my parents to talk it through. This is what he wants. And look, from everything I can tell about this man, the way he talks and the way and his generosity, he's a kind man, he's a generous man, he's a wealthy man. She still doesn't know that he's not the source of the wealth itself, but she's looking at him and she's like, okay, he is, from what I can tell, a suitable suitor. And so I need to take the next step. Here's my pedigree. Yes, we got room.
So you mentioned about how a bridegroom or the groom's family would confront the family of the bride to offer money, blah, 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 to get her. But he directly gives money to her straight without the family knowing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so is this a, for lack of better words, a ploy on his part to win favor?
Kinda. He wants to see what she's gonna do, and like he doesn't know who she is yet. He wants to tease that information out of her. Now, there's other ways to do it.
Right.
He could have asked straight out, like, "So, whose daughter are you? Who's your family? What clan are you from?" He could have done that, but first of all, she showed him generosity, so he's gonna show her generosity. It's like, oh, I like this. There's an instant bond. Like, oh, okay, good. You know what? This girl is generous. She's gonna be my master's wife, maybe. I want to get in good with her. Like, I want to be on good terms with her. That's probably there too. But
Well, plus the fact that God answered him like that.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't even finish talking, and
yeah,
boom, we have instant answer. That'd be great if we have answers like that.
I know, right? That would be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Verse 26, then the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his mercy and his truth toward my master. As for me being on the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. Imagine that. So the young woman ran and told her mother's household these things. You know,
So she gave him her pedigree. Now he's starting to give her his pedigree. He doesn't go all the way. He just says, my master's brethren's house. So she knows, okay. So from that, she probably can deduce, okay, which one of my ancestors or which one of my great uncles or whatever left the house. Oh, I heard about my grandfather's brother who
who
left after to follow after this strange god nobody's ever heard of before that we know of. So yeah, so he's given her his pedigree, and she's like putting two and two together. So she runs home to tell everybody not only that there's this possible thing cooking up, but there's news from your uncle, your brother from way back when.
I wonder if she's thinking that Eliezer is the one that she's going to be marrying at first.
Could be,
Because-
but that's why he said, I'm here on behalf of my master. So she understands.
But even children consider their father master at times, or lord.
Yeah,
But I guess maybe the way he said it would have been
yeah.
so.
In this circumstance, she's not okay. He's the matchmaker. Here to make a match. Yeah.
Okay. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the man by the well. So he's still out there by the well. So it came to pass when he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's wrist, and when he heard the words of his sister Rebekah saying, thus the man spoke to me, that he went to the man, and he stood there. He stood by the camels at the well, and he said, come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and a place for the camels. So her brother has prepared this place for his camels and for his men. Am I reading that correctly? I mean, that's what it sounds like.
That's what he's saying, but as rich as they are,
Right.
After all, the city is named
Had it
after.
done. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's just met this guy. So it's probably just to be understood that means that he knows that he is a relative.
Yeah, I mean,
That he's honoring them for this type of welcoming.
yeah, he's heard his sister tell them what happened, and he's like, okay, y'all fix it up. I'm gonna go get him. Yeah, probably because his father was pretty old by now too. He's the one that goes and brings them in at like the welcoming party, saying, "I prepared it for you because my sister said so, because we understand that there's something going on here. So yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Then the man came to the house, and this is Eliezer.
yeah."
Then the man came to the house, and he unloaded the camels, provided straw and feed for the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him.
So actually, this is still Lavan.
Yes, my bad.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
now-
the Hebrew is a little, what's the,
Flexible?
yeah, it's not clear who it is until
Oh,
you
okay.
read the whole sentence, like he, which he.
Okay. Food was set before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have told about my errand. And he said, speak on. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and he has given him flocks and herds of silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he has given all that he has. Now my master made me swear, saying, you shall not take a wife from my son, from the daughters of the Canaanites, whose land I dwell. But you shall go to my father's house and to my family, and take a wife for my son. And I said to my master, perhaps the woman will not follow me. But he said to me, the Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with you and prosper your way, and you shall take a wife for my son from my family and from my father's house. You will be clear of this oath when you arrive among my family, for if they will not give her to you, then you will be released from my oath. Yes, that's almost like Abraham knows it's going to happen. He has no doubt, showing more of his faith as usual, as usual, and that he's going to find his father's house. As far as we know, he's never been there.
Actually, Eliezer, he might have been there. He might have.
So you think maybe if he's traveled back and forth?
Well, he might have come out of there with Abraham himself. Like when Abraham left there.
Okay. Well, that would. I mean, if Abraham's 140 and he left at 75.
Let's say the Eliezer was a young kid then.
Well,
he might be
70 years.
Might be 70, 80 years old.
Okay. I was thinking he was probably more the age of his son, in my thoughts. But
yeah,
I mean, so. That's not a hero.
Because he was his servant way before Isaac was even born.
Okay.
So he's obviously older than Isaac, and
well, I still think of we don't live to be 150 anymore.
I know that. Yeah.
So I'm still thinking, he's 75 instead of 140 or whatever, and this. But anyway.
Yeah. It does cause a dissonance in our mind.
Yeah. Verse 42. And this day I came to the well and said, O Lord of my master, O Lord God of my master Abraham, if you will now prosper the way in which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink. And she says to me, drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son. I think he's kind of dropping a hint. This is the woman, because if this is what has happened by the prayer I asked God to find this certain person.
Yeah.
So I think he's giving a really big hint. Y'all need to understand. And of course, we don't know if they know who God is, which maybe like we've said, there's probably been communication somehow over the years, going back and forth of caravans, spreading word, whatever, whatnot.
Yeah. Verse 31. And he said, "Come in, O blessed of the Lord." The word translated Lord there is translated all caps. So it is the four-letter tetragrammaton name of the Lord. The most holiest name of the Lord. So they knew, even if they didn't serve the Lord, they knew of him because of Abraham.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And they greet him with that name. So they, based on what Rebekah said, they put two and two together and figured out who he was, or who in whose name he was there. And then, like you said, yeah, he's making a case. He's pleading his case now, saying, look, this is what happened. God bless him so much. He's so rich now, and he sent me over here. You see how many men I came with, and how many camels I have with. And you better believe that those camels were not carrying the men. They were carrying all the gifts and goods that they sent, because it says that all his master's wealth was in his hands. So the Jewish sages say that Abraham actually wrote a deed of sale of all his goods, or a will for all his goods, and put it all in Isaac's name now, and that he was coming with, the deed in his hand, along with the proof of what the deed was worth, and he was showing up to them. So, and he's like, yes, I'm coming from your brother's house, or your uncle's house. I'm serving him. You remember Sarah, your aunt? What would he be to Bethuel? Yeah, his aunt, because she was Haran's daughter. So yeah, it would have been his aunt. Your aunt, she's there. She was barren. Guess what? She had a child. And he's specifically saying in their old age, so that they know that it's not some fugly old man, crusty, sitting over there. And he didn't come here because he was a crusty old man. He's young. He's a little older than Rebekah, but he's still not my age. He's not your father's age. He's not Bethuel's age, because he would have been born at a regular age for his parents, where Isaac was born way later in life. So, like, and he's telling them what the Lord did, saying, "Look, this is a match made in heaven."
Right.
Like, don't argue with me on this.
Yeah.
And we're going to see them picking up on that later. But yeah.
Verse 45. But before I had finished speaking in my heart, there was Rebekah coming out with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, "Please let me drink." And she made haste and let her pitcher down from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I will give your camels a drink also." So I drank, and she gave the camels a drink also. Then I asked her and said, "Whose daughter are you?" And she said, "The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him." So I put the nose ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrists. And I bowed my head and worshipped the Lord and blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the way of the truth to take the daughter of my master's brother for his son. Now if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. The story itself of the prayer to God and the answer that he got before he even finished praying, uh, you know, should be a little light bulb over the head. Hey,
Yeah.
I think he may be telling us the truth, and he's not really trying to buy her from us, on the underhand, so to speak. But everything that has happened, and of course Rebecca's proof of that she did that on her own, probably shines a light and says, yeah, this is all for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely for them. Yeah. I just can't get over the fact how God is illuminating Eliezer right now. Like, just the whole chapter is supposed to be about Rebekah and her family, but Eliezer is the one that shines through the most.
Mm-hmm.
His heart, his faith, and his smarts and his wisdom. It's just but yeah, like you said, I mean, if the money ain't gonna do it for you, the testimony should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, this is funny because now Bethuel has something to say, because we don't really hear anything about him. Answered and said, the thing comes from the Lord. We cannot speak to you either bad nor good. Here is Rebekah before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken. So I didn't read ahead, of course, and that's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
we see what's going on here. There's no doubt. And it came to pass when Abraham's servant heard their words that he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. Then the servant brought out jewelry of silver, jewelry of gold, and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and to her mother. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank and stayed all night. Then they arose in the morning, and he said, send me away to my master. But her brother and her mother said, let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she may go. And he said to them, do not hinder me, since the Lord has prospered my ways. Send me away so that I may go to my master. So they said, we will call the young woman and ask her personally. Then they called Rebekah and said to her, will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. We had talked about this earlier. Let her stay a few days. I'll make it 10. That's a lot more than a few days. I don't know if there was any manipulation in there.
Yeah.
Because, and you had mentioned, well, they'd like to see her daughter for a little bit more because, hey, boom, this thing happened, and all of a sudden we're losing her. Like I said, it's almost losing somebody for life.
Yeah.
I think you had mentioned about, they're passing away. We won't see her in our lifetime anymore. So is there a manipulation? Maybe they're, and I don't know why they would do this, because they're already rich, and now they've been giving riches, more riches. Are they pumping Eliezer for more in this?
Yeah. I mean, that's a valid question, right? It's possible. Now, 10 camels. There was food on there. There was cash on there for them to be able to restock food along the way. There was water there and whatnot. So it wasn't all a dowry and a bride's bride or anything like that. There was that, obviously. He's been giving them gifts. There was probably more gifts to give. So it could be that. But, I mean, he would have given them everything except what they needed to be able to survive the trip back. Right? He wasn't going to hold any of that anyway. So, could they have been getting greedy? I mean, looking at Lavan, what would happen in the future with him when it comes to Isaac's son, it's possible. It's possible that he was angling for more, but like you said, I think the main issue is because it's also the mother, right? Her brother and her mother said, and the idea is, she's my daughter. I'm not going to see her again. She's going to go all the way over to the land God showed Abraham. Like, Abraham never came back. Bethuel never saw his uncle. Nahor died without ever seeing his brother again. I'm never going to see my daughter again. She's going to go, and that's it. I won't even hear about how her life's going, most likely. So, give us some time. Give us at least a week and a half, like, if not more, because she says at least 10 days. But Eliezer is on a mission. He doesn't want. He wants to get back before his master dies. He wants him to see that he kept his promise, that God made his path straight, that God continued to show him favor and mercy regarding these things. So he's like, if I stay 10 days, then I might stay a month. Like, I got to get going.
Right.
I got to go. Because if it doesn't work out, if you say no, I got to go find somebody else.
So, what about her quick reaction of saying yes?
Rivka,
I'm ready to get out of this house. I'm tired of being their slave.
It could be that her brother was already a scoundrel, but we don't see that in the text yet. So maybe it's hinting at that, but maybe it's hinting at. It seems like her father doesn't speak much. It seems like the son has the reign of the house.
That's what I was going to ask you. Why isn't Bethuel even mentioned with the gifts? His son is, but he's not. And it would seem to me that the parents would be the ones you want to impress first, and then maybe the other siblings.
Yeah, I mean, when I imagine it, I see a lot of things as a movie in my head when I read. And whenever I see him, he's that old guy, crusty old guy in the corner. Tucked away in the corner, so that he's not bothered by everybody else. Like, he's like,
Well,
and
it could be a physical. Maybe he's had a stroke and he's not able to communicate.
Yeah,
or whatnot. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
and that's kind of where I was going to. Like, he maybe he's just that grumpy old man in the corner, but he doesn't come across as grumpy. Maybe he's just, like you said, somebody whose health is not what it used to be. And perhaps he's the quiet, reflective type, the kind of guy that just listens before he says anything. A wise man. A wise man that knows when to keep quiet and when to speak. And that's when he speaks up, right? He says, I've heard your story and I concur this is of the Lord. There's nothing more for me to say. All right. You have my blessing. You have my daughter. So he speaks where it counts. He's a man of few words. Either because of his personality, I think that's part of it, or because of a failing health, and that's probably also part of it. And Lavan seems to be the kind of guy that he's stepping up to fill the void caused by his father's ailing health.
So apparently he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Or the oldest son, anyway.
Yeah. So that's the family dynamic that I'm seeing in my head when I read it. The text doesn't tell us much about it. It's just what we can sleuth out of it. But yeah. But it's interesting, like you said, he doesn't give him any gifts, or he's not mentioned as receiving any gifts. It's the brother and the mother, which could hint at him being seen as not much long for this earth. Like, why would I give a dying man a gift?
Verse 59, so they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the gates of those who hate them. I find that rather curious, how they would say that. I mean, perhaps Eliezer explained to them that Abraham was going to be the father of the nation of Israel, in a sense, and of many nations. So they knew that being Isaac was the only pure son, and Rebekah was going to be his wife, that she would also be the mother of many. Because that's not something that you just say to somebody when they leave without having foreknowledge of what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. To the previous point where you asked what's up with her. Yeah, I'll go. I'm thinking maybe, and that I think strengthens the idea that her father's health was failing, and that her brother might have already been I'm looking for a
pain in the neck.
Yes, thank you. A difficult person to deal with. Because she might be like, well, my dad's a great man, but he's dying, and I really don't want to get stuck in my brother's house. It could be, and that's going to make sense. If you've never read the Bible before, if you don't know any of the events, well, spoiler alert, we're going to find out more about Lavan later on in the next generation of Abraham's descendants. So yeah, that could be one of it. But I think part of it is also that she sees Eliezer. She hears his testimony. She hears how God has blessed him. She's heard stories of how this God that they don't know called him out, and that he's gone. So she knows that that Abraham's a prophet, and she sees how much God has blessed him, and she's thinking, okay, if his servant is this good, then Abraham must be a good man, and if he's a good man, his son's probably a good man. Let's go. Yeah. Apparently
they didn't care much about looks.
You know, it's interesting. I was just listening to somebody else talk about that, about marriages that are formed through matchmaking, arranged marriages. And apparently still the majority of marriages on earth are arranged marriages, even to this day.
Oh, wow.
55% of all marriages in the world is some estimation, I guess. I don't know. I didn't see the numbers myself, so
Even
what do I know?
half is amazing. So.
Yeah, but in Africa, places like India, but even amongst Orthodox Jews today, matchmaking is a thing. Arranged marriages are a thing. And guess what? Interestingly, vast majority of the women that were polled, when they were asked, which would you have preferred, to marry for love based on your choice or through this arranged marriage, and they say arranged marriage. And apparently they've looked at the numbers, and people that are in arranged marriages actually fall in love and are happier together, and only 1% end up in divorce overall,
Wow.
compared to 34%, I think, in America of all marriages ending up in divorce, mostly because of serial divorcees, like, oh, who was it? I can't remember. Several famous singers and whatnot, but we won't go there. But yeah, so there's something about arranged marriages that works well, and
That's amazing.
yeah.
It really is. Let's go ahead and finish this out. Verse 61. Then Rebekah and her maids arose, and they rode on the camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and departed. Now Isaac came from the way of Beer-lahai-roi, for he dwelt in the south. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field in the evening, and he lifted his eyes and looked, and there the camels were coming. Then Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. For she had said to the servant, "Who is this man walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." So she took a veil and covered herself, and the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Now here we see the comparison that we were talking about, how much Rebekah is like Abraham.
Yeah.
She immediately got off her camel to find out who this man was that she was going to marry.
Yeah.
Still holding to the fact that she put the veil over her face so that you'll have to explain what all that is about. And when we see people getting married and they have veils and they put it over, but I think there's a specific reason why they do this.
Yeah.
So
There's a few things going on here, but to that point, I guess we can start with is that in most traditions, married women will cover their face. Young women will not. But the idea is that, only my husband, only my close relatives will see my face. And so she's already like, we're married. I mean, not like I'm going back 550 miles on my own. We're married. She covers her face, submitting, showing humility. But the whole, if we go back to 62. Now Isaac came from the way of Beer-lahai-roi, for he dwelt in the south. What's the deal with Beer-lahai-roi? We read about that place once before. It's where Hagar and Ishmael, well, actually, where Hagar, while she was still pregnant, after she ran away from Sarah, came and saw God face to face, and she named that well Be'er Laharoi, the well of the God who sees me. And Isaac is in that area now. He's living in the south, not with his father. He's in the south, in and around where his brother lives, his half-brother. And that's going to be interesting later on when Abraham dies. Also, it's an interesting dynamic between the son of the promise and the legitimate son, and their relationship, if they have one, right? But another thing is, Jews pray 3 times a day. Well, more like 4, but let's say 3. There's 3 communal prayer times. Morning, and morning because Abraham got up, he rose up early in the morning. And in the evening, because Isaac would meditate, i.e. pray in the evening also. So there's all this stuff going that's, even branching out into more topics than what's at hand. But it's just, again, it's a cinematic, picture-perfect moment where he lifts his eyes up and there she's coming. And she lifts her eyes at the same time. And she's like, oh my. And she gets off and runs to him. It's just a chick flick is what's going on right now. It's like Notebook on steroids. A man she's never met. She's never laid eyes on him. And she goes, oh, this guy, he's cute. But yeah. But so yeah, that's why she veiled herself, because that's the way of a married woman, and they're married. There's no vows exchanged. There's no minister involved, but
it's completely different than what we're used to.
Yeah, but there are witnesses. There are witnesses.
And it kind of, so Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
Yeah.
So this must not have taken very long after her death.
No, the idea is that it's probably within 3 years.
Okay. And I was going to ask you this earlier. So to make it easier, we'll say there was 600 miles between the 2 points. I'm guesstimating that on a day's journey is 20 miles a day by camel.
Depends on how fast you, or how many hours you're walking.
Right, and that's, I'm basing it on 8 to 10 hours. Because it'd be very hard to walk in the sand, for one thing, continuously.
Yeah. Well, it's not just sand, though. It's rocky. They wouldn't have made the road in the sand.
Right, I understand that. But I mean, it's just the difficulty of walking through a desert.
But yeah.
Heat, and cold. Now, did they do most of their traveling at night, or did they do it during the day?
They wouldn't have traveled much at night, because that's when the
bad guys were out.
Come out, right?
Because I'm thinking is, walking throughout the desert in the middle of the day.
Plus, at this time, there's still lions in the area. There's still bears in the area. Like, it's not a safe travel, especially at night, because there's still apex predators at this time. They haven't gone extinct yet.
So they had to circle the wagons, circle the camels.
Yeah.
To keep. But if they went 20 miles a day, roughly.
Yeah.
So that's
30 days. If you say 600 miles.
uh-huh.
If I would say they maybe 30 miles a day, but still, even in that case, it's 20 days. It's not a quick trip. It's not a day. It's not a vacation. It's a month and a half, 2 months of
There's no off days,
travel.
most likely.
No?
Yeah. Of course, weather takes part of it also.
Yeah. Sandstorms.
So hopefully not getting lost.
Yeah.
I was just curious because,
Yeah.
of course, it's way much further. When the wise men started traveling, when they first seen the star, they must have come from a massive amount of distance for it to take them 2 years to get
Yeah.
to where they were going.
Yeah. Well, if we're thinking about that, they are probably coming from back in the day. Shushan was the capital of Persia, and they were coming from Persia. So that, say, another 500-600 miles easily. But they had to prepare everything. They had to, first of all, verify that sign was the sign. They didn't have computers back then, so they had to do all the star charting by hand. They had to go back and find it in
The scriptures or the writings,
yeah,
to find out exactly when that star was supposed to appear
yeah,
and where.
yeah. What's the timing of it, so on and so forth. Then they would have to prepare. They would have to get permission from their king. They
were the kings.
Well, they weren't the kings themselves. That's a
Misconception.
misconception.
Okay.
They were. The idea is that they were the disciples of Daniel, meaning, Daniel's long gone, of course, but he was responsible for training people under him, and
Right.
who did he train? The magicians and the wise men. So they were the wise men, the counselors of the crown. So the academics, the know-it-alls. So they would have had to go and ask permission from their king. They were not the king themselves. The king wouldn't have had time to chart anything by hand and figure out. Plus, when is there ever 3 kings in the same kingdom?
Well, they came together.
That happened once before. Once after that, in Greek, and then twice, Greek and in Roman history, and never ended well.
Didn't work for. Okay.
But yeah, it would have taken them, with all the preparations and everything else, it would have taken them longer. And they would have probably followed the route around. As the stars and everything are moving across the sky, they're not going in a straight line. So they're probably following it, whatever circuitous road it's taking in the heavens. So it would have taken longer. But yeah, 40 to 60 days of journey for an old man like Eliezer. Yeah.
All right. So we did get through 24. It took us a while. Oh, we may have to split this one in half, an hour and 40 minutes.
Nah, it'll buff out.
That'll buff out. Yeah, we'll
It'll buff out.
kick out all the. We won't put any commercials in. All right,
Never
sir.
do.
Good reading.
Yeah.
A lot of information, more than what people see in here.
Yeah. Always is.
Eliezer,
Always
yeah.
is.
Especially with Eliezer, and
Yeah.
learned a lot about him.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna put the address, the post box,
Okay.
not in post production. It'll be right about here. But if you would like to tell them what that address is about.
Okay. Yeah, the address. If you would like for us to advertise your church, send us a T-shirt, large, XX for CJ. Who your church is. Let us know what your beliefs are, because it must be a Bible-believing church. Or a hat. We'll take a hat too, and send it to this address right here. And we would gladly promote your church. Tell people online who you are, where you are, your beliefs, and it's great free advertising. You never know who's going to be in your area, from what city, state, country, and who knows, they may see your T-shirt or hat on this show, and hopefully they'll say where they seen your address and church, and tell you who we are, and that'd be great.
Yeah. So, thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, God bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, and give you peace.